And our final words go to our minister. I've never been more proud to say those words. To our minister, Reverend Neal Robert Jones.
Well, I'm grateful this day just to be alive. Usually one hears such nice things said about themselves at their funeral. I'm just grateful to be here to hear them myself. Thank you, Barry Lynn, for traveling from Washington, Dan King from Massachusetts, Gilda Cobb Hunter from Orangeburg, Peter Candace from Hilton Head, Mike Paget from Forest Acres, and all of you who have traveled some distance to be here to celebrate this personal and congregational milestone, or some may say a millstone. I wish I had time to point to each person here and recognize how each of you has graced my life. But I will resist the original sin of preachers, which is to talk too long. Please know that I cherish each of you for what you have added to my life, and that I cherish this congregation, which has provided me with a spiritual home and the opportunity to realize my calling. As you know very well, that calling was doubted and frustrated before it was realized. After graduating from seminary nearly 27 years ago, I quickly realized that I could not remain in the Southern Baptist tradition. And after barely surviving as the minister of 2 churches, I realized that I could not remain in the Christian tradition. I have to confess to you that during those frustrating days and sleepless nights, I thought something was wrong with me. Why couldn't I fit in? Why couldn't I just go along to get along? So instead of seeking a psychologist, I decided to become one. So I moved to Texas, of all places, and took on a mountain of student loan debt and enrolled in a doctoral program. By the way, that is the typical Unitarian path to salvation. When in doubt or trouble, go back to school. I became a psychologist and was headed in an entirely different career direction when the unexpected and unplanned happened. That bumper sticker is right. Stuff happens. Only it uses a more impolite term. Sometimes stuff does happen. God or life or the universe will interrupt the best laid plans of mice and men and drive you to your knees. But it's also true that sometimes grace happens. Grace happened for me when I discovered Unitarian Universalism at the UU Fellowship of Waco, Texas. And grace happened again when you took a chance on a former Southern Baptist and invited him to be your minister. You gave me the chance to realize a calling that at one time I thought was a dead mistake. For me, this calling runs much deeper than a conscious choice. It runs through the marrow of my bones. I was born in a family in which I felt like an outcast. I was instilled in a religious tradition in which I felt like a heretic. And I was nurtured in a region, the South, where I have felt like an exile in my own land. Looking back on my life, I realized that I have spent much of my life looking for my tribe, for a family of spiritual brothers and sisters, for a community of kindred spirits. in Unitarian Universalism and in this congregation, I have found that and much more. I have realized a calling which enables me to devote my life to the cultivation of a caring community for others, as well as myself. In this giving, I have received more than you can possibly know. And for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. We have reached the time of ending, a moment for gathered memory and for letting our imaginations play with future possibilities. We have enjoyed many magic moments in this place, you and I, and we have edified each other. Shall it be concluded then? Or will this adventure continue? Our separate paths, converging, meeting, merging, in the unending quest for love more perfect, the joyous struggle for meaning more fulfilling, and life more abundant. Is this ending to be an ending, or merely a prelude to new, more glorious beginnings? I pose the question. In your hearts lies the answer. Go in peace.